And welcome back to another episode of TED Talk Stamps. I am the host, Ted the Talking Stamp Collector, and I'm back with another installment of Philatelic Tidbits, in which I just go over a few interesting stories, I think, on stamps that would not otherwise warrant filling up a whole episode. And speaking of stamp stories, if you haven't already, check out Lawrence Fisher's YouTube channel, Stories Behind the Stamps. And you can find some more interesting stories behind the stamps. I've got his link in the description below. So stick around. In 1944, Ireland issued a pair of commemorative stamps noting the 300th anniversary of the death of Michael O'Clery, a Franciscan monk and historian who lived from 1590 to 1643. O'Clery is noted for overseeing the compilation of one of the most important works of Irish scholarship, the Annals of the Four Masters. This work chronicles the history of Ireland from way back in antiquity up until his contemporaneous time of 1616. The Four Masters in the title refers to O'Clery himself and the three lay scholars who he brought in to help him work on the project. The stamps depict a scribe, presumably O'Clery, writing at a desk, and inscribed above the desk is the text, in Latin, "To the glory of God and Ireland." Now, at that time, in 1944, the current definitive series of Ireland, the definitive series for newer collectors, that is the regular permanent series that is continuously on sale for could be years and years, whereas a commemorative is just a temporary issue to note a particular person, place, or event in history, and it's printed one time usually and go on sale, and when they're gone, they're gone. So like I said, at this time in 1944, Ireland's definitive series was this set depicting the map of Ireland, the coat of arms, the Celtic cross, and the Sword of Light. This last design, the Sword of Light, was used on the halfpence and 1 shilling stamps. Now, although the O'Clery stamps were issued as commemorative stamps, for some reason I haven't been able to find out, they were kept in production and they replaced the halfpence and 1 shilling stamps in the definitive series. And the stamps remained in use for 24 years until the new set of mythical creatures definitives was released in 1968. Now each year, Netherlands puts out a set of summer stamps. And in 1970, the summer issue broke new ground in that this was the first time that a stamp design was not created by a human artist. For the first time, computer graphics were utilized as a stamp design. Otja Oxenar designed the stamps, and he developed the computer graphics in cooperation with the Technical University of Eindhoven. Previously, he had worked on similar designs to be used in the background of Dutch banknotes as an anti-forging measure. This led them to think of using a similar method for creating stamp designs. The first stamp shown here is an isometric projection from circle to square. And don't ask me to explain what that means. The second stamp shows parallel planes in a cube. The next stamp is 2 scales. The fourth one shows the transitional period of concentric circles with gradient diameter. And the last one is simply 4 spirals. Now jump ahead a half a century and Netherlands has done it again. In October of 2021, Netherlands issued a set of stamps that was the first to be created by computer artificial intelligence, AI. The set, printed on a miniature sheet titled DigiArt, comprises 5 stamps which, at first glance, appear to recreate classic-era stamp designs. However, upon closer inspection, they can be seen to be simply ambiguous, unidentifiable designs bearing only a vague resemblance to familiar stamp designs. They fed data from 1,500 stamps issued between 1856 and 1920 into the computer, where the AI algorithm analyzed the design elements, colors, and other artistic data points to then create its own stamps, utilizing the patterns it discerned. Now, the original intent was to get data from at least 4,500 different stamps. However, they ran into problems because of things like postmarks, just extraneous ink marks that were throwing off the algorithm, as the computer would then design a stamp with an ink blob in it. And they also found that they could not utilize stamps that showed human faces, as the computer was just as likely to create a face with the nose sticking out the side of the head, or the ears and the chin, or some silly stuff. So, at least for now, artificial intelligence does not seem ready for prime time for stamp design. One of Switzerland's great musical treasures is a musical duo by the name of Dieter Meier and Boris Blanc. If you don't recognize those names, maybe you recognize their professional performing name, Yellow. And if that still doesn't ring a bell, you might think of their most famous hit that was used in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. At any rate, they are right here at the top of my favorite musicians. They've been around since 1979, and in 2016 they released their 13th album. Now, each year Swiss Post issues a celebrity stamp honoring some performing artist from the Swiss cultural scene, and they also invite that artist to design their stamp. 2016 was the 13th stamp in the series, and that coincided with the release of Yellow's 13th album, and they were invited to design a stamp honoring them. And this is what it looks like. Some of the artists from past years who have designed their own stamps are musician Stefan Eicher, the late Dimitri the Clown, the rapper Stress, and the musician Polo Hofer. Oh yeah! Now, it's not unusual to find stamps with inscriptions in more than one language. And I'm not talking just about, Latin, where you can find Latin mottos or the scientific names of flora and fauna. I'm talking about 2 or more languages that are spoken, usually in that country. For example, the first to do so was Belgium, who inscribed stamps in French and Flemish. Canada also used dual inscriptions, French and English. 4 languages can be found on the Hyderabad issue of 1871: English, Marathi, Telugu, and Urdu. And on this Russian stamp of 1927, where the word for post, or pochta, is written in Russian, Ukrainian, Armenian, and Georgian. And most of the earlier United Nations stamps are inscribed in 5 languages, with United Nations inscribed in English, French, Spanish, Russian, and Chinese. However, in 1966, Denmark shattered all the records by issuing a semi-postal stamp, or charity stamp, for the Red Cross. In addition to showing the 3 different logos for the Red Cross used internationally, the Red Cross, the Red Lion and Sun, and the Red Crescent, it also contains the name Red Cross inscribed in no less than 32 languages. Those languages are Albanian, Amharic, the official language of Ethiopia, Arabic, Armenian, Chinese, Czech, Danish, Dutch, English, Farsi, Finnish, French, Gaelic, German, Greek, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Italian, Japanese, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Punjabi, Romanian, Russian, Serbo-Croat, which, like the former Yugoslavia, does not exist anymore except in the separate dialects of Serbian, Croatian, Bosnia, and Montenegrin, and Spanish, Swedish, Thai, Turkish, and Ukrainian. And to top it off, this stamp was engraved by the great Czesław Słania. So that does it for another installment of Philatelic Tidbits. I hope you enjoyed the stories. If you did, I hope you also will hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of future episodes as they go up. So until next time, this is Ted the Talking Stamp Collector wishing you all happy stamping.